the time progresses and we are more and more into this COVID pandemic, the fortunate thing is that, as I always say, we're not alone in it, but the unfortunate thing is we're not alone in it, but we can learn from each other. And I think that's the main thing that we want to try and do with these kind of WebiShops and WebiPanels and webinars that we've been doing over a couple of years as the Conduit. So on behalf of the Conduit, I think I want to just say welcome. I know the Executive Mayor will do a proper welcome, but we're looking forward to the international insights. And what will happen, just very quickly, just a few house rules. Please use the chat room and the Q&A. So Q&A especially for questions. So if you have a question for a specific panelist, please indicate and say, Mayor Boyson, if you can answer this, or Ingrid, if they can answer that, and then we can hopefully someone answer your questions on the chat while we're busy at it. Those that's more generic, we'll pick them up and we'll divert them to the panel after everybody has done their presentations. So we should, and hopefully we'll be out of here by 11:30 at the latest. Here and there people will be leaving, so that's not a problem. And here and there more people will be joining. So as we go along, obviously that will happen. There will be opportunity for sharing this information afterwards, obviously, as well. So we'll share the recording and we'll share the presentations that everybody is making to you, as well as to others that's not on the call that indicated that they wanted to be here. So the interesting thing is, from an overall perspective, although we might be fewer people on the call, there's hundreds of them seeing it afterwards and during the time as well. So that's actually quite a nice process that can also continue. So it's a learning process. So we would also hopefully be able to build up new relations. I think that's part and parcel of what the whole idea is, that we do that. And why the chambers and why the associations? And I think it's, sometimes, as a chamber or association, we do get into a bit of a rut, perhaps because we're doing the same thing all the time. And now that the same things are not the same anymore, how did we, as chambers and as associations, actually repurpose ourselves to look after our business partners a lot better? And I hope that through sharing some international experiences as well, together with our local Johannesburg and George experiences, that we can sort of address some of those. And it's not only for business chambers, obviously, and I'm appreciating the fact that the likes of SATSA and the Film Commission and others are also on the call. So it's about all associations and the role that you play as an association within your bigger environment and your bigger community. The other nice thing is that we do have representation on our as attendees from wide, right across the world, actually, to be honest, which is great. So we appreciate that you're also taking the time to join us. It's not only Conduit people sitting here, the rest of the country, and obviously the rest of, not the rest of the world, but some parts of the world. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And I think the time is now to hand over to our Executive Mayor, Mayor Boyson, to give us a few words of welcome. But before we do that, may I ask all the panelists, everybody that's on there, just to quickly switch on your videos, that the group and everybody can see who's going to be talking to us. So if you don't mind, everybody just quickly switching on for a couple of seconds, and then we'll continue with the process. Yeah, they see all the pretty faces coming through there. Bernadette, are you all right there? I just want to check you quickly, maybe while we're doing that. Should be able to do so. Caroline and Mr. MM, Melanie. Okay, there seems to be a problem there with Bernadette. We can quickly check what's happening there. Anyway, so okay, there's a nice wave from everyone. So yeah, thank you very much. We'll switch back off again, and then we'll hand over to our Executive Mayor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Paul, and good morning to everyone. Good morning to our distinguished guest. I don't know what the time differences are. It's probably almost afternoon for some other people. But we appreciate the time that you guys have put aside to be part of this very exciting initiative. And also a special welcome to our delegates who might not be presenters here today, but we appreciate their presence as well. To my municipal manager, Mr. Mondestratu, and his staff, his learned team. We really appreciate what you guys are currently doing. And I must say, colleagues, for this initiative, I just want to give a little brief in terms of our position as the Garden Route District Municipality in terms of what you guys are trying to achieve. We really appreciate that, and we fully support this initiative. Again, my personal opinion, and I've said it the other day as well to all the other mayors who are part of this district, I truly believe that it is indeed a new normal, and it is indeed a situation that has been created by the COVID-19 pandemic. It was unexpected, and we now have to live with it, and we now have to adjust accordingly. And the reason why I'm saying this is because normally we as politicians, we are very territorial, and at times we are very bound to powers and functions. We stick to that, and we don't want to budge. And at times, as in our case in South Africa, we are so highly regulated, and our laws are cumbersome, so much so that at times we tend to do nothing because we know that we're going to break one law or another, and then we're going to be in trouble. But in our instance, and this is how I'm actually also politically driving this municipality, is to say that things have changed, and COVID-19 pandemic have unofficially rewritten the law books. We now must forget on who's supposed to do what and who's got what powers to do what. We need to break out of those shackles now, and we all need to come together, and we all need to do the right thing. We know that, and especially in our instance, although it is universal, but I can only talk to what I'm aware of, is that in our instance, we are now sitting with companies or businesses that have closed their doors. The ones that has not closed their doors have to reduce their staff complement or their workforce. We're sitting with child-headed homes because some of us have lost loved ones, some of us have lost parents, some of us have lost colleagues, and all of that had a ripple effect in all the unintended consequences that goes with losing some loved ones, etc. We are now also faced with a huge number of homeless people, and we are currently in a process of dealing with non-profit organizations and people who are in the space, in the social space, in terms of how we can partner and deal with creating more efficient homeless shelters, etc. And one of the other big things is that, fortunately for us and everybody who's part of today's event, we know what to do. And because we know what to do, the challenge is we who are in government, how readily available are us to lay the foundation for you folks who are especially in the private sector, because you guys are experts in making things happen. Things can happen within days, within your sectors and within your space. And when it comes to us, because of the stringent laws, things takes weeks, months, even years for that to happen. But I must say that we as the Garden Route District Municipality, we have this attitude now that we must partner. We know that it's the only way forward. We know it's these kind of engagements that we're currently busy with that will open up the economy again, that would actually uh, make sure that because of us forming these bonds, things will be able to be implemented quicker. But also one of the things, and we've engaged with our provincial government to say to them, because they are closer to our national partners at a national level is to say that we now, because COVID have shown to us that we now need to come to quicker implementation timeframes, and we probably have to rewrite the laws, because I refer to partners or to partnerships, but in South Africa, just to form one form of a partnership with a private company, for instance, it can take years. And in our case, we call it the triple P, um, the triple P rollouts. We've asked the Premier to engage with the President to see that if we can't take shortcuts on that, because sometimes even outcomes of these kind of initiatives would lead to partnerships. But when it gets to the implementation, we will have to wait years, because there's a lot of prior approvals which needs to happen: provincial government, provincial treasury, national government, national treasury. They all have to give input first, and only God knows how long it takes them either to acknowledge such a request to form these kind of partnerships. And I'm going to say something here, and I know my municipal manager is also part of of this platform, Mr. Stratu. And I did not say this yet, but I'm saying it now that I'm dealing with this issue. I truly believe that the time has come for us to do the right thing, and we apologize later if we have to apologize, but we no longer have the time to wait for weeks, months, or years for some goodwill to be implemented. And hopefully, I've seen the list of the distinguished presenters, the massive experience and the workloads of brain power that we have here today. We will tap into your brains, we will prick your ideas, we will steal some of your ideas. But what I can say is that we, as the Garden Route, we really, really are open for business, so much so that we probably the first or the only district at this stage that has actually even went as far as formulating an investment prospectus for everybody who goes online, who Google the Garden Route as a destination or as a potential international partner. We have investment prospectus where each and every municipality within our district have showcased their potential, their capabilities, what is up for the take in terms of reinventing our economy. And you guys are more than welcome to venture into that space. But because we're such a vast district, not everything which is contained within our investment prospectus is the only things which we have to offer or which we can offer. There are many more. And through you, Paul and Melanie and the rest of our economic development team, the international guests on this platform and the international business people, they would have the opportunity to engage even further with yourselves and to get to know this region better. But what I can say is that indeed we are open, we are ready to welcome you guys with open arms. It is no longer an issue of cutting red tape, but we've reached a stage where we actually have to roll out the red carpet. And indeed, this is our intended mission. And Paul, once again, through you, on behalf of my council and on behalf of all the other mayors and their councils, we really appreciate the fact that we are displaying the Garden Route to the rest of the world. I've noticed, as I was saying earlier, that we're from different parts of the world, and we also know that there are different experiences on this platform. So I'm eager to hear what you folks have to offer, and whatever is up for the take, we are ready. Please partner with us. And I must also say that, unfortunately, folks, today, within an hour's time, it is also our State of the Province address by our Premier, Ellen Windey, within an hour or so. So at some stage, I would love to have to duck or to leave this meeting and join the Premier, because even out of the Premier's speech, we will take our cue in terms of any partnerships or any potential that would come out of these discussions that we can just hook on and make it happen. But we're ready, we're open, you're welcome, and please come and invest in the Garden Route. Thank you. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you, Meyer. Yeah, fortunately, I'd lost connection on my side for a minute. So hopefully we can get myself back on again in terms of the video. So we're just doing that quickly. My PC decided to do a backup just now for some strange reason. But thank you very, very much for that, for the warm welcome that you have given us, and also looking forward to obviously work together with all our panel members and everybody else with regards to future growth for the region. Thank you so much, Executive Mayor, and good luck with the SOPA speech. I think it's also good to be part of that process and see how that goes. While we're sorting out our one or two technical issues, I'm going to hand over to Bernadette Zeiler from the Johannesburg Chamber of Commerce and Industry. She's going to talk to us about some of her experiences and how they as a unit in Johannesburg actually managed to get through the current pandemic and looking forward to future reference. And as we go through the speakers, you'll see some of them are regional chambers, others are local chambers. And that's also the idea, is to actually start understanding how regional chambers do work and how we can actually make it happen. So Bernadette, over to you.
Thank you so much, Paul, for the opportunity. I seem to be having a problem with my video. I've just asked someone to assist. So hopefully the video will be working shortly. And thank you, Mayor, for that excellent address. Thank you. It was an excellent address. Thank you. I'm Bernadette Zeiler. I'm the CEO and the Head of International Trade at the Johannesburg Chamber. The Johannesburg Chamber was established in 1890, and we're also part of the International Chamber of Commerce in Paris. So we have access to about 14,000 chambers globally. And our focus as a chamber has always been on facilitating and promoting international trade. So we have a department where we will reach out to the various embassies, the almost 200 embassies based in Pretoria, where we will invite the ambassador or the high commissioner to do an overview on the bilateral trade opportunities. So we do these in forms of trade events with different countries. So the high commissioner or the ambassador will give an overview of the bilateral trade opportunities. We'll have a logistics company, we'll have a financial institution, and also some companies that have traded in that country will also give their success stories. And we find this is a great platform for our members to engage globally, to form partnerships, to form joint ventures. And as I say, we host about 2 to 3 of these events every month. And since COVID, we've had to adapt and we've had to do it digitally. And we find that the great partnerships and joint ventures that are formed through these different workshops. And also something that is that's also very important to JCCI is we run different developmental projects. We've run, since 2002, we've run development projects with GIZ and with other stakeholders as well, Flanders in Belgium as well, where we will select we'll actually go through assessment process. We will identify the suitable candidates. They have to be in business for a minimum of 2 years. And through there, we will get a business specialist to analyze the business and put together a mentorship program. And during that mentorship program, we will look at financial management, we will look at brand management, we'll look at packaging, labeling, intellectual property sales and marketing. We look at everything relevant to your business and how to make your business sustainable. And from there, we will introduce the SMEs to export training, where we look at Incoterms, we look at types of delivery, types of payment, the harmonized tariff codes, everything relating to export. So we will do this training over a period of a few months. And once these SMEs are ready for export, they've got a product or service ready for export, we will do a feasibility study to identify where the suitable markets are, because it's very important. We don't want them to waste all that resources, and there might be restrictions in the market, or the market might be inundated with their products. So we will do a market research to identify suitable markets. We'll take into account the free trade agreements, the harmonized tariff codes. And then from there, we will work very closely with the Department of Trade and Industry. We have a very good partnership with them, where we will work on the SAS funding and the EMEA funding, and we will assist them to participate in international and local exhibitions and trade missions. And there we also have a very good partnership with local organizers like CITEX and Global Trade Show as well. And then all our SMEs are invited to the trade events that we host every month. And then the next process, once our SMEs are ready for exports and gone through this whole process, we will use our chamber networking, access to 14,000 chambers. So we will identify suitable markets, the suitable partners, and then we will send letters of introduction to these chambers. So we will offer this complete process. So, you know, from the mentorship, the training, feasibility study, to access to new markets. And we've run these projects very successfully. We did the first project with GIZ over a period of 3 years. And from there, we were awarded a contract in agri-processing, where we've now taken, after we've done the generic export training and the model, we're now actually zoning in and focusing on sector-specific training. So we look at agri-processing, we look at creative industries, and we also run a Women in Business desk. So our Women in Business desk is multi-sectoral. We're focusing on small manufacturing, agri-processing, creatives, fashion, jewelry, gaming, and animation, services, wellness, and beauty. And then the Global Export Accelerator also follows the same process. We will go through the recruiting and selection, training, basic business, financial, export specialists, mentorship, product development, and market entry. And the JCCI offers all these services to our members and also to our SMEs, where we will give them advice or support, or we will lobby on their behalf with the various governmental institutions as well. And we also link to the International Chamber, the RCC, who writes the rules for trade, the Incoterms. And JCCI also issues certificates of origin. We do manual and electronic as well. And we also supply market information. We have members approaching us to obtain information on different markets and also where they can access different markets. And there we will use our access to all the different chambers and also the foreign economic reps with the DTI. So we will use our vast network to assist our members. And then we have the trade days. We have 2 to 3 international trade days a month. We have very good links with the 200 embassies in Pretoria, and then also the 14,000 chambers worldwide. So we find during this period, this last year, we've had to adapt our models, our training, and even our mentorship. We've had to adapt it to digital. So when we started our Women in Business desk and our other projects, we had a series of workshops, how to digitalize your business and how to set up your own online store. And from there, we proceeded with all the other trainings as well. But for JCCI, one of the main areas of focus is international trade, because international trade and exporting is going to boost the economy, it's going to create employment, and it also give members and our SMEs access to new markets as well. So we've at the moment we're running several projects with GIZ and Quonium Asset Management, and we've also formed a partnership with City of Johannesburg and other local government institutions as well to run this model. And then we're also in the process of taking our standard Global Export Accelerator and implementing it at all the other main chambers throughout South Africa, and from there we will take it into the rest of Africa. So we're very excited about this project, and we found that during this period it's actually helped businesses access new markets and really relook at their business and see which products they have suitable to supply to new markets and how to adapt their business to new markets. And basically, that's just in a nutshell the services we offer. And we've had, through our Global Export Accelerator and our other programs, we've had several success stories, which involves communities as well. One of our success stories of a lady that produces indigenous tea, with the packaging and the harvesting and the packaging, she's involved a community of about 250 to do this process. So we actually want to take that project and take it throughout South Africa. So there's some key pilot projects that we've run, and we've seen the success, and we'd like to adapt it and include it in our models that we take around South Africa and then into Africa. We have a very close relationship with our sister chambers in Africa, and where Johannesburg is based, it's really a strong base into the rest of Africa. Thank you so much. And I apologize for my video not working. There seems to be some technical problem. I apologize for that.
Thank you, Bernadette. Don't worry about that. That's part of our technology. I appreciate your input. So any questions that you do have for Bernadette, just post it in your Q&A on the site. She's going to stay on for a while, but also have to leave for another session that she's co-hosting today. So obviously that will be part of the process going forward there for her to be part of, I think it's with the British Trade Commission, something like that.
Yes.
So looking forward that, sorry, again?
The UK trade webinar, it's with the UK government and Trade Forward Southern Africa.
There we go. So if you don't mind sharing that back once you've got some more information, we will really appreciate that, Bernadette.
Yeah, I'll do so. And I look forward to our collaboration, because I definitely see synergy where we can all work together.
Great. Thank you so much for joining. When we started this process and this talks, Bernadette was one of the very first that said, yes, please, we want to be involved. So I appreciate the fact that you stuck with us, Bernadette, and being partnering with us. I see that it's about cross boundaries and cross pollination at the end of the day. So we appreciate that as well. Thank you. So I'm going to hand over to Mark after Den Bosch from the SANEC, the South African and Netherlands chambers. So Mark, if you can switch on, I'll run your slide from here. So just please let me know when I need to switch to the next slide. And yeah, looking forward to hearing from you as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Paul. Special welcome to the executive mayor, Mr. Boysen. And welcome to my fellow colleagues of the local and international chambers and all participants for today. For this morning, I would like to acknowledge also a few of my colleagues are online here this morning. Hans Kool in Johannesburg, Feiko Mulder in Cape Town, Ella Detroit also in Johannesburg, Lumba in Cape Town, and also two of our associates, Clarence Johnson is on the call, and Annemarie Ferns. So would like to acknowledge them both. Yes, thank you so much, Paul. You can switch off to the next slide. Talking about SANEC. SANEC stands for the Southern African Netherlands Chamber of Commerce and Industry, which was founded in 1992 by Dutch and South African businesses, and in the Netherlands founded by the South African Embassy as well. It stimulates, promotes, and facilitates bilateral trade and investment between Netherlands and South Africa. And the countries within Southern Africa. It is basically with the headquarters in The Hague, but we have the local representatives office in Johannesburg and Cape Town. We are a private business chamber, champion the interest of the business communities in the Netherlands and South Africa and the region of Benelux and Southern Africa. The programs and economic activities will be served under the SANEC Business Development Services. We are a membership organization, although we also work for non-members. We have at the moment around 150 active members. That is cross-sectoral, but our reach it's much wider than that. Yes, you can go to the next slide, please. If it goes, yes. The basic of SANEC is called SANEC Connects. That is powered by membership. There facilitate we all the trade or the import export, foreign direct investments, cooperation in general, culture cooperation. And actually what we do, we connect business to business, business to government, business to education, and all that kind of engagements under the theme Netherlands, South Africa, Netherlands, Southern Africa. SANEC started as a chamber, bilateral chamber, Netherlands, South Africa, but it was 2008. It was formed into the SADC countries, also on special request by that time by the South African Embassy and the DTI, who found it important that SANEC also has a regional outreach and not only the bilateral outreach between Netherlands and South Africa. Nowadays, about 75 to 80% of our work is still bilateral Netherlands and South Africa. Now, this was, of course, what we did for COVID. We had many one-on-one introductions, matchmakings, the incoming delegations. I remember the end of January 2020, that was my last activity. The Embassy of the Agriculture of the Western Cape, Dr. Ivan Meijer, came to the Netherlands, and because we are a partner in his market access capacity program with new farmers, and we had outlined a fantastic 3-day program before they went off to Germany, where they could meet all big importers of fruit, vegetables, find out about EU regulations, transport, meeting potential partners. And I remember that we took photos and everything, and a month later we were almost not allowed to use that photos anymore, because then you have to write out this was before COVID. So you see that everything what you do, all the pictures, you have to see, okay, was it before or during COVID, or you have to see. So that was our last face-to-face activity before COVID. Connections, business for us, trade and investment missions, everything what comes to the facilitation of trade and investment. Next, please. Now, our pillars, as I said, is based on market entry, business support, marketing and sales support, program cluster management, trade, investment promotion, and corporate events. But what we found out in COVID, that SANEC wants to be back more to the core of the core of activities. That is being a platform for connections, advice, and information. And because that you have to be strong in that, and because you cannot run all the in a nutshell all our programs in be successful in a digital way. And we also find out to see, would it be better to outsource some of our activities in a commercial way, using our own expertise, but not only our own expertise. It's very important that you also make use of the expertise of your members. So always get your members on board with their expertise, with their competences, and yeah, you make some kind of alliances. We work nowadays more in clusters, in sector or subsector clusters, and you see that has more impact than only have a general approach. You know, this is, I won't speak too much about this. This goes more into detail, and due to time constraints, I just keep it in a general. But we will see if this presentation, which I assume. Next slide, please, Paul. Yes, for an example, what we do in a cluster is NFTC Africa. That is a cluster of aqua-food and technology. Serves as a center, and it's facilitating business and lead generation, business development for Dutch enterprise organization aqua-food value chain in Africa. Mainly, it's focused on Southern Africa. We have also representation in Cape Town, Cape Town as well. And in this NFTC Africa, different kind of programs like potato program, fresh produce program, dairy program, all kind of subsector programs can be rent out, can be find let's say funding to those kind of programs, skills transfers, training, you know, helping companies in the value chain, only to increase the output of the companies and make sure that they can locally be a better company, but also export or import their products. So this is actually an example of a cluster where you put in all aqua-food related companies in South Africa and in the Netherlands together, and also share information and see how we can work in partnerships, you know, to create synergies. Thank you. Next slide, please. Yeah, now I will say now digital SANEC, because at the moment it's a digital SANEC, and it is as I said, it was quite a challenge because we had to, the first few months of COVID, we had to cancel all our one-on-one activities, social business activities like business lunch with the new ambassador, and a big wine tasting event, and whole matchmaking event. That was all cancelled. And then we came out in the situation that we had the opportunity to contribute to the first virtual trade mission to South Africa, which was organized by the Netherlands Embassy and the Netherlands RVO. That was a virtual smart agricultural trade mission. And in there we were subcontracting situation that we were responsible for the matchmaking. That was the first time that we had a whole matchmaking event virtually. Normally, the challenge was, normally we do matchmaking events also in South Africa. We set up a whole event. There is food around, drinks. If people come late, we can on the ground make changes. Maybe other people will show up. Other people show up who are not on the list. We can even matchmaking as the situation is. The challenge with virtual, you cannot do it. You have to plan everything up front. There's no time or for surprises. You can also not offer a nice drink or a nice something to eat. You have to be sure that you never know if there's load shedding, of somebody sitting at home and having a Wi-Fi problem. I mean, I'm sitting at home on 3 floors, and every floor we have a different Wi-Fi. Because sometimes it is, it's just not working for a few minutes or anything, and then so those challenges we had to face. So it was really an exciting moment. We had to set up around 50 individual Zoom meetings between 11 Dutch companies and the counterparts in South Africa. And with my team, with our team, we were managed to set up 105 individual Zoom meetings all over, and that was basically, I think, about 25 till 30 companies came from the Western Cape. And it went actually fantastic. I mean, we had only a load shedding moment from a few companies in Limpopo, and the rest, I think there were only from the 105, 2 or 3 people came a bit later. So we were so surprised that everybody was on the ball and there. But that was, I could say that was quite exciting, because you cannot, if somebody is late, or it is difficult to manage. But we did it, and that was for us the moment to say, okay, you know, now this will work. It is possible, so we can run our chamber like that. And if there's in the future moment, the future times, there will be also again face-to-face, absolutely physical meetings. But I know for sure that we will have then 2 situations. We will act on 2 stages, digital and physical. And I think that everybody has to do that. And that is, I think, one of the biggest changes. Thank you. Next slide, please. Now, yeah, I won't go into detail with this. This is the core proposition value of SANEC. Okay, the core of SANEC has always been find trustworthy partnerships. And now, of course, there you have a whole value proposition for members. You have clusters. You set up your partnering in trade missions. You do skills development programs. Everything, but it's still the core is finding and facilitating those partnerships. Next, please. Yeah. Now, this was before COVID. It just makes a few photos that sometimes I'm thinking, oh yeah, okay, this is what we did. Interesting to see. We did about 15 to 20 events per year. This was a ports evolution in Durban, for instance, with an Holland pavilion facilitated by the Dutch government. Those things will come back, but sometimes you think, okay, yes, that was not so long time ago. Next slide, please. Yeah, nowadays this is the new SANEC. On the photo right below, you see the board meeting, and right on that was the board meeting in October with the new South African ambassador Vusi Mandonsela, and we had 2 board members on the ground, and the rest was calling in all the other advisory board members. And yeah, this was the first full digital board meeting, and also that went quite well. But I will tell you in a few sheets later why it went quite well. Next, please. Yes, and here it comes on innovation within the chamber. The one of our most important, the biggest innovation was the setting up of the smart technology desk. Together, it's a joint venture, it's a collaboration between the company Petanque NXT and Petanque NXT Smart Solutions. Petanque NXT with headquarters in Cape Town. It's a one of the leading smart technology companies in South Africa. And they opened the doors about a year ago in the Netherlands. And from day one, as SANEC works also with one of our most important works for incoming helping South African companies into the Netherlands with their business. We created this idea like, okay, if we set up a smart technology desk, we can make use of SANEC, because SANEC has to innovate, because we were not digital. Yeah, we did Skype. And we did, but not so Teams and Zooms were not so in our system. So with this whole technology desk created, which was created for members, partners, affiliates to make use of this in the digitalization journey, help them with automation, robotization, but also with basic digital questions, digital help. But also SANIC makes use now of the Smart Technology Desk, and also together with the South African Embassy. So we created it for our members, but we also make use of SANIC with the Smart Tech Desk, and everybody can use it. And it's a great help, and it will develop further in the future. Yes, please, next one. No, it was created, you saw one of our speakers, OostNL. It's one of our cooperation partners in the Netherlands, as we work there closely with an investment promotion facilitation agency. And OostNL has been very helpful in that journey. But also we work with Nuffic NASO, that is a government education agency here in South Africa, in Pretoria, facilitates education cooperation between Netherlands and South Africa, internships, cooperation between universities. So you see, we gather a group, it's like a cluster as well. We create a consortium. SAWA Center is our own activity, and Invest in Holland is also a Dutch entity for promoting Netherlands as the investment destination for South African companies. Next, please. Now, how did we do it? We created a team in the Netherlands. We thought, okay, we want to create a knowledge and innovation committee from our members that has to basically successful entrepreneurs. They have to be based in the Netherlands and committed to our digitalization journey. Now, we found these 12 successful entrepreneurs. They have all to do something with, they deal with South Africa on a daily, on a weekly basis. But they said, okay, we will be volunteering in the Knowledge and Innovation Committee to make sure that we address all digitalization questions and also future innovations within SANIC. They've been very helpful in that process, also as a reflection board. Thank you. Next one. This is the expert team of Petank. On the below, you see Dr. Laurien van Aswegen. That's my colleague. She's the co-creator and the leading person in the Smart Technology Desk. She has also been in the call at the moment. And CEO is Dr. Michel Boysen. Living from Cape Town. This is a whole group of experts, and it's a fantastic collaboration. Everybody will benefit from this. Next one, please.
Just 2-3 more minutes. Sorry about that.
Next slide, please. Yeah, we can use the next slide. I believe this is one of our also innovations. The way forward, you see on the right-hand side, the snowman. Yeah, that was a joke in the Netherlands because we had a week ago, we had snowstorms and Arctic weather from -15, -18 degrees in the Netherlands. And then those kind of jokes you're getting all over, virtual, like, oh, the snow, Frosty the Snowman is also online. But you see how the situation is, lockdown, winter time, and then you get those kind of stuff. Now, digital transformation within the chamber is very important. The core services of the chamber must also be operated in a digital way, that you're ready for both ways. From our side, we would like to form a coalition with the international chambers based in the Cape and the local regional chambers, because they are crucial in this collaboration, especially Garner Wood via South Cape Economic Partnership. We can have joint events, matchmaking, speed dating, and we strengthen the role of the chambers and associations as well. I would say positioning your core values, especially connecting, networking, opportunities, and information. And also establishment of partnerships between international chambers, local chambers, export councils, sector associations, in creating business support to public and the private sector, I think. And the collaboration between regional and international chambers I found crucial, because the regional knows everybody, regional, all the companies, entrepreneurs, programs, government programs, and the international chambers, gather all the companies, and organizations who are ready to move to to explore, to expand abroad. Fantastic cooperation. Last slide, please. Yeah, now this is a photo how it was. Here you see everybody, you see on every photo one of my colleagues in Johannesburg and in Cape Town. And yeah, also from the Cape Town representative office. And now thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Mark. It's been a great presentation, and I think very many ideas and thoughts. Your food for thought and your way forward is actually quite cool. So we will definitely look into it, I'm sure, from a ground root perspective as well. And yeah, thank you very much for availing yourself and being also a partner from day one that we started talking. And looking forward to see how we can take this forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're reasonably on time, so no problem so far. So we're looking forward to listen to Johanna Niemisto. I hope I pronounce it correctly, Johanna. So from the Helsinki chamber, a regional chamber there as well. So thank you very much for joining us. So looking forward to hear something from all the way from Finland. Thank you.
So good morning, everyone. It's my great pleasure to be here this morning and tell something about Finland and Helsinki Region Chamber of Commerce. So first few words about Finland to set up the scene. So we are 5.5 million people. It's a big country with few people. It's only 17 per square kilometer. And the capital is Helsinki. We are really quite close to nature. We have and like to go to sauna. We have 3.3 million saunas, lots of lakes. When you land to Finland, you basically see water and forest. And there's plenty of forest as well. There are almost 500,000 summer cottages, so people like to spend their time in the cottage, sometimes next from the lake or most often. There are also plenty of national parks. Our main export industries are electronics, machinery, vehicles, and other engineered metal products, and forest industry. There's so much forest, and chemicals. The known brands are Kone, Nokia, UPM, Wärtsilä, Valtra, Supercell, and Huhtamäki, for instance. As we are part of the Nordic group of countries, we have also Nordic design, and the brands there would be like Artec, Marimekko, and Iittala. And few years we have been named as #1 in the United Nations World Happiness Report, as well as last year. And for Finns, this is always a little bit surprising. We are the happiest country in the world, but I think that it's actually more like about the society and how it's built. People can trust that things happen here. It's a big country, as you can see in the photos. The one is from Lapland, and there are northern lights. And the picture down, that's from the Helsinki, very close to our office, actually, in the center, really next from it. The Finnish Chamber Network consists of the umbrella organization Finland Chamber of Commerce and 19 regional and independent chambers of commerce. And then there is also the network of bilateral chambers of commerce. We have altogether over 20,000 member companies and organizations, and those are representing approximately 50% of the turnover and 30% of the staff of the Finnish companies altogether. And we are private law chambers. Our work is based on the Chamber of Commerce Act. And this means that as we are private law, it's not compulsory to be a member in the chamber, and thus we are competing with our services for the members. So in order to keep our members, we need to provide them services so that they're happy. Our chamber, Helsinki Region Chamber of Commerce, was established already in 17 of the year of the independence of Finland. We were actually established even before the Finland Chamber of Commerce. And currently, we have 7,000 member companies in the area of 21 municipalities, so basically around the Helsinki. And we have offices in Helsinki, Espoo, and Vantaa. Those are the main cities in the region, as well as in Finland, one can say. Our chairman of the board is Miss Anni Vepsäläinen, and she's the CEO of the Suomen Messut, which is the Finland trade fairs. So that's the sector where it's not really bright currently due to COVID crisis. And our CEO is Mr. Heikki J. Perälä. We have 75 employees, and we are the biggest of the Finnish chambers of commerce. That's partly because we have a very large service company. I think the next one, or the next biggest chamber in Finland, is maybe employing like 12 people. So, and most of them are 2 to 3 people. So it's a little bit different scale. And as all the chambers, we are promoting the interest of business sector and also producing business development services for our members, but also other companies. Just a second. I cannot see my screen. So now we go. So what we do is, this is typical what I guess that all the chambers are doing. So we are actively promoting the business interest of our members and doing also networking that's related to city planning and land use, proficient workforce, and labor migration issues generally. How to do responsible and sustainable business, and how to develop the local business environment. Our member services we include, these are free of charge for all those members, and the membership fee is between 200 to 6,500 euros. So these services of advising, they are free of charge and they can be used as much by the members as they want. We have 13 specialists there, including myself. And what we cover is taxation, labor and contract law, accounting and bookkeeping, internationalization, where I'm working, and foreign trade documents. Then we have, of course, as well, member networking events. However, currently during the COVID, those have been more not related on networking maybe so much, but more info webinars and seminars online, of course. Our services, especially those are especially through our service company, are based on the business needs. And those include educational courses and trainings. These are paid for services, and they are a little bit, they are less expensive for the members, but open for everyone. We have approximately 250 of this kind of courses yearly. In addition to that, we have information and network services, networking services. We have a big information database called Chamber Knowledge. It has different sections. There's, for instance, taxation, bookkeeping, labor law, also about internationalization, how to do your customs, something about Incoterms, and so on. Really pretty wide, the database of knowledge, and you can buy the access there. Then we have chamber clubs. These are basically clubs where they can be, for instance, for the HR directors, where they can share information and they get also training to support them with their knowledge. And then there are ChamberNet and trainings online service where you can watch online different trainings. We have also publications. I think last year we published 30 books altogether, and these are usually written by the well-known Finnish writers. Last week, for instance, there was a book on venture capitalism published. So there are practical information if you are looking for venture capital, what you can do, and so on. And then, as all the chambers, I guess, we have newsletters, 2 different type of, and then we write all the time thematic articles on certain topics. For instance, if there are changes in taxation, what to do. And now during the COVID crisis, there have been different kind of temporary amendments regarding the labor law, for instance. So those have been published very often in order to keep the members informed, and also to help that they are not all calling our advisory services and asking for help. We are the largest chamber of commerce in the Nordic region, and we have members from all the sectors. As we are located in the Uusimaa region, the services sector is very high, as you can see, and as well retail. This is the capital, so it shows also in the business sectors. Finland is slowly moving towards services. And our members, most of them are small and medium-sized companies, as you can see, but we have also the big ones. We have the headquarters in Helsinki and Espoo area especially. And how do we collect the information? We have 350 company representatives in our business committees, and we provide trainings, 250 courses last year with very good average points, or with the feedback points, and also lots of info events. We also work with the foreign trade documents, as you can see, and our advisory services are very used by the SMEs. Last spring, due to COVID, it was very, very busy. One day there were even like 100 questions answered, and that's a lot, because it was mostly, I'd say, 5 people giving the information on labor law. So they were super busy. Shortly about the COVID pandemic in Finland, we had the Emergency Powers in Act in force last spring, immediately launched by our Prime Minister, government and President. And that led to the lockdowns, like I guess everywhere else. And the Uusimaa region was even closed for 3 weeks, which is pretty weird. You don't see the clocks on the streets or in the motorways usually in Finland. So it was pretty weird times, as I guess everywhere else as well. And how it's been so far? So the figures are pretty good. Not that many infections, not that many deaths. There are very strict restrictions still since the end of November. However, as everywhere else, the schools are open, high schools and universities on distance studying mode, and work from home is recommended. And we still have rather low of bankruptcies. The highest infection numbers are in Uusimaa, so right here. And especially the service sector has suffered a lot, because, all those restaurants, culture, and so on, so they are down. Manufacturing industries seem to survive really well, actually. And all the companies have stayed open because there hasn't been that strong lockdowns, actually, because the situation has stayed so good. What has helped here has been probably a high level of digitalization of the society. People are following the rules pretty well. There's a low density of population, remote location. Finland is an island surrounded by the sea, and long social distance scale. So what about us? How it was with us? So we began our work from home mode since 13th of March, and all the face-to-face meetings were cancelled and moved to online. This took maybe, I'd say, 4 weeks or so. It was a little bit like a trial and error, trying like how things will go. As mentioned, a very strong demand for advising services, especially labor law. And there was a strong emphasis on communications, on legislative changes, public funding information, what to do and how to move on. A strong cooperation with other Finnish chambers came in, and there were weekly CEO meetings, so that made the relations much closer than earlier. We are funded by the foreign trade documents, membership fees, investments, and the income from the service company Helsingin Kamari Oy, which is it's limited company owned fully by us. And most of the costs are related to staff as common in knowledge organizations as us. And what happened during last year? Number of foreign trade documents sunk significantly, and number of new members rose because there was a need for advising services. And in order to balance financial situation, the staff was asked to take voluntarily a longer summer break without a pay. And because of this, and also surprisingly good profits from the investments, and also cutting certain meeting costs, the year actually ended financially on positive side. And well, generally we don't aim to profit yearly, but we are trying to keep the financially stable situation and then investing back to the services. And what happened then in our like a service company side? So it's fully owned by Helsinki Region Chamber of Commerce, and there are approximately 35 employees, and they are the ones who are making the trainings, publications, and online services. And services are open for all companies as mentioned, and discount for the members. And what happened there? There were very fast reactions when understanding what was happening, and this was already end of February. Everything was changed to the online trainings, because usually the biggest share comes through those. And it was very lucky because already before we were digitalizing all our services a lot. So in the end of the year, turnover was lower, but margins got better as no lunches, coffees, and so forth were needed. And during the year, a strong development of digital services and cooperation with new partners and subcontracting helped with the situation. We also applied successfully for national COVID-19 funding to develop the services. And some of the staff was laid off for like temporary, and depending on the person, it was 2 weeks to several months. And they were also recommended to have a little bit longer summer holidays. And in the end, one can say that despite the financial difficulties, the outcome of the year was positive. A better service supply than before, a cooperation deals with the other Finnish chambers of commerce on online trainings and advising services as well. So they are now using our advising services. I think that these are the biggest learnings and how we have adapted to the next normal. So the basic work did not change. We help our member companies to succeed by providing them practical advice and information, hear their voice, and we do the lobbying for them and support them through training, seminars, and publication. And we try always to understand and forecast the needs of our member companies. What changed was how these services were delivered. And what helped in this, we were listening very closely what our clients and members of our business committees wanted, and then we modified work. We asked for questions and tried to understand their needs even closer. And in order to generally to act fast, but concentrate on right matters, requires following the business environment closely and knowing your own strengths and how to develop those. I think the big challenge was and is still how to lead from the distance, stay innovative, and keep spirits up. We are the expert organization, so everyone knows basically what to do, but then it's also like how to keep the community. I cannot emphasize more that the cooperation with the members and stakeholders, such as cities, regions, and national level players, is needed to know to understand what's happening and how to act in the best way. And I think that most often there are shared interest and cooperation is power. And of course, I'm working with international matters. So using the international networks, Enterprise Europe Network, bilateral chambers, and ICC helps. I work fully myself for Enterprise Europe Network, which is the Commission network helping SMEs to go international. We work in 70 countries, however, not yet in South Africa. There's been 2 years already, or 3 years, discussion that South Africa will join. But through Enterprise Europe Network, I was, for instance, myself working with 12 international matchmakings online last year, because I can use the services through the network. So basically, working in cooperation with the others and learning from the others, that's been one of the things how I have personally experienced that the COVID-19 times has also proved to be useful or good learning experience. It has sort of like helped to see where to concentrate and how to do it quickly. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you so much, Johanna. Very interesting, very thoughtful, and I think, yeah, so I'm sure we can make a plan to get Africa on your map there as well, between whoever's on the call here currently and with their various contacts. I see Lily from HI is also on the call, so I think there's a good opportunity for that kind of collaboration through a force that we can actually form. So thank you very, very much for your time and for the inputs. And yeah, please, I just want to remind all the attendees there is that opportunity for you to do some Q&A. At least you can queue, and we'll try and do the A's from our side. So please ask it on the Q&A room, and and direct it to a specific panelist, and they will obviously try and answer back as quickly as possible while we're even talking right now, and then we can perhaps save some time at the end when we do the Q&A session that we already answered some of your questions. Without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to Fons de Zeeuw from the East Netherlands Chamber, or the Development Agency rather. So Fons, looking forward to your contribution. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Paul. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, dear colleagues. My name is Fons de Zeeuw, and I am a member of the, let's say, the executive board of the Regional Development Agency for East Netherlands. And our agency is called OostNL. And OostNL is a publicly owned company. Our main shareholder is the Dutch Ministry of Economic Affairs. They own 55% of the shares in our company. And the remaining 45% of the shares is divided between the two main provinces in the eastern part of the Netherlands. We have more than 100 employees on our pay list. And we have basically 3 main business lines in our organization. The first business line is about investing. So we invest in innovative companies in the region where we work, in East Netherlands, in order to enable those companies to grow. And most often we provide investment capital by taking an equity share in those companies. By doing so, we can invest up to 5 million euro per company. And we have a total investment portfolio of around 400 million euro, and it's still expanding. We have normally a much higher risk profile than the regular market players, and than the regular providers of venture capital. And that means that 5 years, after 5 years, the start of our investment, the company that we have invested in is either bankrupt or booming. In fact, there's nothing in between, and that has to do with this high risk profile. After 5 years or more, we sell our shares, and if the company has been booming, the exit provides us income for our services, but also to compensate for the losses, and capital to reinvest in new innovative ventures and small and medium enterprises in the region. On the midterm, you see that the total volume of our funds is more or less stable. So in fact, we manage revolving funds. Our second business line is about innovation. We stimulate cooperation between universities, research centers, and innovative companies. And we do that with the aim to develop, or let's say stimulate the development of new technologies. And by doing so, we focus on specific innovative clusters, such as photonics, robotics, nanotechnology, but also alternative protein for food processing, for example. We set up field labs, we organize shared service facilities, we initiate European R&D projects, and also we provide support to startups and academic spin-offs. We also establish new membership organizations from time to time to stimulate the interaction between innovative companies in our region. An example is the Protein Cluster Organization. That is an organization for plant-based food processing companies. And those cluster-based membership organizations, they organize seminars, business trips, visits to exhibitions, etc. Now, the third line of business in our organization is about international business. Inbound, we support companies from abroad to invest in our region. We identify and approach interested investors abroad, and we provide all kinds of tailor-made information packages on the business and investment conditions. We prepare, for example, incoming visits for interested potential investors. We assist in the search for the desired location and premises. And we have assisted also various South African companies to expand into Europe, with the Netherlands as, let's say, the European home base. A recent example is Petank and NXT, a key player in digitalization of business processes from Western Cape, South Africa. Mark Achter den Bos referred already to this beautiful organization. In our region, by the way, the most important countries for incoming foreign investments are the USA, Canada, Japan, and also the United Kingdom. Outbound, we support the regional small and medium enterprises in expanding international business by organizing trade missions abroad, international tech matchmaking events. And we have South Africa, in fact, very high on our list to visit for a trade mission on agri-tech. And hopefully early 2022, the situation will be normalized, allowing our agri-tech companies to visit South Africa and explore new opportunities with the South African business partners they can meet. Until the moment of removal of those travel restrictions, we organize virtual trade missions. And those virtual trade missions are very easily accessible, and they attract therefore a very large audience. At the same time, the participants are less committed, and the effects in terms of, let's say, larger export volumes, the effects are probably less as compared to the effects of real trade missions and the live versions. And that we hear also from the entrepreneurs in our region. They say, well, you can use internet to maintain relations with existing clients, of course, abroad. but you cannot develop real business relations with new clients over Zoom. Not only outbound, but also inbound, the restrictions related to the COVID-19 make our work more difficult. It is, for example, it is difficult to attract foreign investors when traveling is restricted or even impossible. As much as possible, we communicate now by internet, and we even organize real-time visits to our region by live streams. My colleagues use mobile internet cameras and the visits and visit the business partners and the locations that would otherwise normally be visited with jointly with the foreign potential foreign investor. So the investor can communicate directly through the internet connection with the business partners that are visited. In fact, entire visits of several days are conducted while the investor is at home abroad. Still, we are talking about second best solutions, of course. To be honest, I have the impression that the work has become more intense since the start of the COVID crisis in March last year. And indeed, we have acquired additional assignments from our shareholders. For example, we implement a few specific support programs for the Dutch business community on the request of the Ministry of Economic Affairs. The largest program that we implement is the COVID Bridging Loan Program for small and medium enterprises. And under this program, we provide loans for companies facing lack of liquidity as a result of the COVID crisis, and that are not served by the banks because of the high risks. Additional work is also generated by the Brexit. British companies that are serving the European markets actually relocate parts of their operations to EU countries. And East Netherlands is a preferred region for British food and high-tech companies to start their European hubs. In terms of trade, we notice a reduction of the export volumes from our region to the UK. And that is caused by the fact that our products are becoming up to 5% more expensive in the UK due to new custom administration procedures, custom clearance, but also additional certificates and more procedures that require costs. But we know that the British products are becoming up to 5% more expensive in our neighboring EU countries as well. So therefore, we organize virtual trade missions to other EU countries, specifically for those companies that experience export reductions to the UK. And our aim is to compensate the export reduction to the UK by expanding the market positions in neighboring countries. Well, I think I will stop my presentation at this point. And of course, I'm available for questions and further clarification. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Fons. Also again, very enlightening and very positive, irrespective of all the things that's happened, that you're maintaining the good work and the hard work that you're putting in. Yeah, so from what I've known and get to know you as well as an organization, that there's a lot of very good interactions taking place, and looking forward to see how we can pull that off. Thank you so much again, Fons. Appreciate that. Just to the panelists, there's a question from Peter on the Q&A. So if you can, individually perhaps answer that, because it might be different answers from different panelists if you want to have a look on that. Otherwise, we can do it afterwards, a quick round robin if all else fails. So let's see how that goes. So I'd like to also hand you over to somebody that had to get there very early this morning. I forgot it was a 2-hour time zone difference there. Caroline Morris from the Northern Ireland Chamber of Business and Industry. Appreciate the fact that you did that, Caroline, and welcome to the Garden Route virtually. And looking forward to hearing from you as well from a Northern Ireland perspective. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Paul, for inviting me, and thank you everybody for having me here this morning. Yes, it is an early morning start, but it's all okay. Before, I'm just going to share screen here. And just to give you a little bit of a background, Northern Ireland, we have a population of 1.8 million. And we're part of the United Kingdom, and we've just gone through Brexit and the challenges that it is presenting to us. Just about the Northern Ireland Chamber of Commerce. Northern Ireland Chamber of Commerce and Industry is a customer-focused, quality-assured business support organisation which enables members to grow both locally and internationally, and we drive the development of the economy here in Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland Chamber was formed in 1783. We have represented the interests of local business and commerce across Northern Ireland for over 230 years. We now have a large and active membership of over 1,000 businesses. We generate from sole traders to the largest multinationals across every area of business, totaling more than 100,000 employees here. The Northern Ireland Chamber supports businesses through a series of growth initiatives and export support. We do the Incoterms and export documents, international trade. We do events and we do training. We also articulate the views of business to here at our government and to Westminster, and provide members with a wide range of promotional opportunities via the Northern Ireland Chamber website, the Northern Ireland Chamber directory, and our Ambition magazine, which is bi-monthly publication. Northern Ireland Chamber is the network for business in Northern Ireland, has the only Northern Ireland accredited member of the British Chambers of Commerce. We are part of a wider network representing the interests of 104,000 business members, which collectively employ almost 5 million people. This network also links us into the worldwide chamber network in support of our export development activity. Northern Ireland Chamber also works on an island basis with the Chamber network in the Republic of Ireland to develop an all-island trade. Our Northern Ireland Chamber is award-winning and quality assured. We have 235 years of commitment. We're a well-known network, and we are 100% funded by our members. Northern Ireland Chamber of Commerce and Industry has been heart of the influencing policy locally and nationally, campaigning to secure the best possible support for our members and their employees. We look at your business from all angles. We focus on business support, profile enhancement. We have cost reduction services for our members with HR and legal advice. We're big on influencing policy. At the minute, we're influencing policy for infrastructure and skills. And last year, our huge policy networking was involved with the COVID relief funding for business, which I'll speak about later, and our business networking. We provide a range of support through our international division and offer Brexit support for members with a dedicated Brexit consultancy service to help members expand their networks, develop new connections, and build their businesses. We are now delivering our hugely successful regional networking series in collaboration with the local councils here in Northern Ireland via Zoom. Our Learn, Grow, Excel programs for 2021 business support offers include Meet the Buyer, the Sector Club, where you had one last week, which focused on the manufacturing sector and boosting productivity, along with a suite of high quality training programs, include Selling for Success. So how did we at the Northern Ireland Chamber here adapt to the new normal? Northern Ireland Chamber moved all our services into an online delivery mode in March, April 2020. We set up a COVID resource hub for our members to signpost them to all government support grants, funding, anything that they could avail of. Using Zoom and Microsoft Teams, we adapted all our technology and retrained staff so that we could deliver our services online. All our networking, policy and business support events are now delivered virtually. We increased direct communication with members to raise awareness of the profile and branding opportunities provided through membership, promoting training courses and our Brexit support service. We had 60% recorded online. Sorry, I've just missed a slide. What didn't change at the Chamber? All our provisions and services remained at the same delivery level. We made sure that we delivered the same quality of service to all our members pre-pandemic and increased the number of events. We delivered 140 plus events on 2020 and our retention levels remained at 84%. How do Northern Ireland see their relevance working with government in the economic recovery of Northern Ireland? Our Chief Executive, Anne McGregor, was very involved in the decision making with our local government on deciding what constituted an essential service to stay open in the first lockdown. The Northern Ireland Chamber of Commerce was very influential in the shaping of grant funding and support for small businesses. We were at the table at all of these discussions, playing a key role. We have very strong relationships at the Northern Ireland Chamber with local government, with our Stormont Assembly. The Northern Ireland Chamber of Commerce also has very strong relationships with Westminster. Our Chief Executive had regular calls and briefings with the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland Chamber has another visit for our members. We have planned a business briefing with the Right Honourable Kwasi Kwarteng, an MP, Secretary of State for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy on the 1st of March. His department brings together responsibilities for business, industrial strategy, science, innovation and energy. This includes developing and delivering a comprehensive industrial strategy and leading the government's relationship with business, just ensuring that the country has secure energy supplies that are reliable, affordable and clean, ensuring the UK remains at the leading edge of science research and innovation and tackling climate change. Further, on the 10th of March, we have an in-camera event with the Department of Finance for Northern Ireland. Again, the Minister will outline his department's priorities on a range of issues impacting business, including COVID-19, Brexit, our economic recovery, budget, procurement and business rates. Attendees at these virtual in-camera will have the opportunity to hear from the Minister and the Permanent Secretary. These are ongoing political engagements that Northern Ireland Chamber are very central to, both at local government and at Westminster levels. The Northern Ireland Chamber also had further complexities with Brexit. We've had to increase our resources within our international business services. We went from a team of 1 to a team of 6 by October. I am employing and training all these customs agents who could give advice to members who were importing and exporting goods outside Northern Ireland and England. and with the President or the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Boris Johnson there. So we have just completed our members' satisfaction survey in December 2020. Our scores within the questions presented to our members on how relevant are Northern Ireland Chamber services to your organisation. 82% found they were relevant or very relevant. 14% found they were somewhat relevant. But overall, 96% of our members found all our services within the Northern Ireland Chamber to be relevant. These figures are key to Northern Ireland Chamber in reflecting how relevant we were to our members. Also within our membership satisfaction survey, 94% of respondents found Northern Ireland Chamber services helpful. When asked, how helpful have Northern Ireland Chamber services been to your organisation? In order to achieve the objectives set out by the strategic plan from 2020 to 2023, the Northern Ireland Chamber team has identified the following set of guiding principles and fundamental beliefs of respect, excellent, innovation, and customer-centric. The key for this is innovation. Northern Ireland Chamber are constantly innovating and improving best service to our members. Northern Ireland Chamber are continuing to review technology improvements to deliver a first-class service to all our members. So thank you very much for letting me speak, and I hope you find that okay today.
That was absolutely more than okay. Thank you, Caroline. It's very nice to hear things also happening in your part of the world. You know, as we discussed yesterday, and you alluded to that, you know, you didn't only have the pandemic to deal with, but also this Brexit issue and everything else. It's actually making everybody's lives very, very interesting in the UK, I would imagine, at the moment. So yeah, so you're having to fight it on both ends of that stick. So, but yeah, well done. I think it's, you know, it goes to show, and I think we're picking up.
The new parameter for the new function needs a
sorry, let me just mute this quickly. Sorry, Jan. And I think what we do find is that, you know, obviously the challenges that you're experiencing, it's being picked up by the others, but there's different ways that everybody is approaching this. And I'm very grateful that we can pick up some other ways as well. And I think, you know, I've been following some of yours and obviously the Republic and a couple of other places, you know, the way that you've adapted and adopted, and same with the Netherlands and everywhere else. And it's great to see that. So we can learn from that. So thank you again, Caroline, and for that insights. Just on the Q&A, ladies and gents, if you can have a look there, Willie also asked a question about the agricultural sector, so if you can also respond to that one. But we can pick it up a little bit just after Ingrid's presentations from the George Chamber. So Ingrid, if you can get ready, I'll get your site ready on the slideshow here as well. Looking forward to just a little bit of a more local view on what's happening as well. So thank you, Ingrid, for availing yourselves as the George Business Chamber, but also obviously playing a role within the region like you guys all do. And thank you for the other chambers that's involved here as well. I see a couple of you on the call. Appreciate that. And I think we're definitely looking forward to getting some insights from you. Thank you. I'll get your screen on just now. You can just let me know whether it's there.
Thank you, Paul. Yes, it is. And good morning to everybody. Again, Paul, thank you very much for coordinating this initiative. I think it's been incredibly interesting for me. I have a lot to say, but I won't. I think at this point, a lot of it has been covered, but let me just start at the beginning, which is really our George Business Chamber was established in 2002 as a George Chamber of Commerce and Industry. But in 2015, under the leadership of Dr. Villiers at the time, it was formally made the George Business Chamber. and became a registered in a non-profit company. So that was the history there. And yes, we adapted to the next normal very much like everybody else. We had to implement an increase of virtual activities and electronic communications. We had to upgrade our office equipment to accommodate the changes, especially for the working from home and working remotely. Surveys were conducted to garner the information that we required. We then adapted the results of that to our business model accordingly. Obviously, a lot of things changed. Our networking format had to change. Our opportunities for our members to engage with each other changed. So yeah, it was a challenge, but it was energizing at the same time. So we work literally 24 hours a day, and we're available to our affiliates at the time because we had to be prompt with our reaction. COVID hit us pretty quickly. Lockdown happened very fast, and then suddenly we had to all really jump and spark. So that was good. Our affiliates were on the phone constantly about what the protocols were, what reports there would be, what kind of permits did they need to travel, what constituted an essential user, those kind of things. So we literally had to stay on top of our game. But it's thanks to the information resources that we had through our local municipalities and the Garden Route municipality specifically with regards to the communications. We still have meetings every week, keeping up to date with the dates and the times and the statistics and so on, and the new things that are happening. So thank you to them for that. Also, we as a chamber had to review and revise our chamber strategy to accommodate the COVID imposed restrictions. The current office restrictions are we do it by appointment only. That way we can keep our environment sterile and controlled. Thank you, Paul. Next page. Something I forgot to mention is that we're also a business support organization, and we have a broad spectrum of affiliates representing tourism, industry in general, construction, retail, and many others, and lots of small SMEs. Okay, so we designed, in order to do things a little bit differently, a series of podcasts with pertinent information with topics that were topical to assist people to redesign their business models. Our information was distributed to most of the business community, but not only to chamber affiliates. We supported anybody who needed help as best we could with advice giving. And if we didn't know it, we'd find the answers for them. Our communication channels were expanded and adapted to the communication medium that was available to the inquirer, bearing in mind that a lot of our affiliates are of a community that doesn't have access to internet. They can use a cell phone, but they don't have computers at home, that type of thing, especially the ones that are in the more rural areas. So we had to adapt our communication to their particular medium, whichever one was applicable. So we engaged with landlords of buildings and people who were paying rental for buildings that weren't being utilized because they were all in lockdown. And a lot of the organizations and landlords accommodated their tenants, which was great. We engaged also extensively with our local municipality and asked them to review and to give beneficial and preferential rates for reductions on rental and things that would help businesses to keep their finances and their cash flows relevant. But that's on the cards for now and the near future. We also had special guests virtual, especially in tourism. We had a lady called Sabine Lehman of tourism from Cape Town who gave us a very nice seminar about and using virtual tourism and the different types of tourism we could key elements to our area and needs special attention. What did not change is our information sharing continued. Our networking stuff. Where are you going, young man? You're going too fast for me. Okay, so opportunities for affiliates to network continued. Our communication channels changed, didn't change. We are only 2 staff members in this office, and we retained that. We were at the office as soon as we possibly could. And then exporters considered export activities. And just to mention, in conjunction with a lot of what our, the other speakers have mentioned, exporting did not slow down. We have a huge export market in this area with berries, honeybush tea, ostrich products, being it feathers, be it leather, be it meat. So a lot of that was happening, so that was great. Next page, please, Paul. Right. Okay, so I did mention that we have frequent virtual meetings with our local, regional and provincial government. It remains important because that's where the communication and the ability to adapt according to changes as and when they happen. Some things do take time, as Mayor Boyson mentioned at the beginning, red tape issues and, the lag in being able to react to things. So it was important to us that we continue with our meetings. Critically important discussions that we've had with Labour Department regarding the funding opportunities or relief that they could bring. So that was also important to us. Imperative discussions relating to support funding opportunities, reduction of red tape issues, and the things that hinder business and potential preferential rate for business. Next slide, thank you.
That is your next slide.
Next slide. Okay.
Yeah.
That is my slide. Okay, so something I just wanted to please also reiterate is what we did do is we had a lot of these PPPs that Mayor Boyson was talking about, your private and public partnerships. Collaboration and trainings that we did, we continued with training. We did that virtually, depending on what was required at the time. We used our affiliates as accredited training providers to provide these things so that we could give them an income as well. Other chambers and business organizations, we stayed close to them as well. Thanks to you, Paul, we were able to, as well as the AHI, who covers the entire Western Cape. So we were able to collaborate and chat and share ideas and best practices during these very, very trying times. To all of you, thank you very, very much for your support and continued support. And thank you to the international chambers for their guidance. I'm assuming we'll get a copy of this recording so that we can take, sort of what we can, learnings from those. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Ingrid. And so that's very good to also hear locally how things are going and taking the bull by the horn, so to speak. So thank you also for the hard work you and the other chambers in this region is doing. I know there's a lot of incentives happening in our area, so I can't share them all here today, unfortunately. So thank you to all the panelists. We are exactly back on time, so well done. It's always a good thing to see that. I see there's a bit of Q&A running there, so that we can perhaps just quickly have a chat. So if I may ask the panelists to quickly just switch on. Hans, I'm going to make you a co-host here as well, if there's anything you need to answer, so that we can get you together with Mark if there's any questions there. So Caroline, Joanna, Mark, and where's Ingrid now? Ingrid. So so Fons did indicate he had to leave because he's also got another event on that's starting actually right now. He's obviously preparing for that, so we want to try and see if we can get some answers back. So there was basically two questions, and I'm going to, seeing that we only 4 left here at the moment, maybe 3 international ones. On both on the tourism side as well as the situation where there's some agribusiness as well, obviously. I see both Mark and Joanna have answered Peter's question. Excuse me. So his general question was that tourism does not seem to feature strongly in the chamber's functions per se, but obviously it's included as part of business, and I don't see it's been excluded, so to speak. But he just wanted to find out what your view was on tourism and the suppliers in their respective chambers, and are there opportunities to leverage a stronger and dedicated focus? So maybe Caroline and Mark already answered, and so did Joanna. So maybe Caroline, from your side, you could just add.
Yeah, tourism here in Northern Ireland, actually just a group thing going on here, and another thing I'm at as well about tourism at the minute. Northern Ireland relies on two things, agriculture and our tourism, and all our hotels, our restaurants have all been closed for a very long period of time. The hotels were only opened briefly November to December and have been closed again, and our members that are in that area, their accounts are on freeze with ourselves until we see what the government is going to do and allow for reopening. I think a lot of people here too are very much afraid to book anything. They're afraid of losing money. But I think if anything with hospitality, it will be homebound on our own island more than anything. And I really feel for all our members in the hospitality industry at the minute, because they are having such difficult times. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you would agree. Jana, can you also switch your screen on if you don't mind? So I think you will agree that where we're sitting in the situation is that, you know, obviously that is probably the most hard-hit industry anyway. I think a lot of them are struggling in more than one way. And I mean, and again, there's other issues as well, but it's not only COVID, but COVID just, you know, just made it happen quicker, I think, in a lot of people's cases. So Peter, I don't know if that answers your question. You can just indicate on the chat room or the Q&A perhaps that you're happy with that. Otherwise, we can pick it up again. And maybe add it to that, and then let's back to all four of you in a certain sense, but again, maybe Mark, Jana, and Caroline. Billy asked about the role of agriculture or agribusiness, agri-processing in your chamber movements. I mean, you know, you're city-based, but some of you do actually have a country influence as well back into the rural community. So how do you see the role of agriculture in your chamber movements? Is that something that's a high priority, or are you quite happy that it's running well on its own? Maybe Mark, starting with you, and then I'll go to Joanna, and then I'll go to Caroline. And Ingrid, if you want to add, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Now, agriculture is one of the most important sectors. Agri-processing, agro-food, agro-logistics, all what comes with agriculture. I mean, the Netherlands is the second largest exporter of agro products throughout the world, and agro is in the Netherlands one of the most important sectors. We have technology clusters. We have universities like Wageningen, Oost-NL of Fons Zil. That's one of the main technology areas for new innovations. And that was also the reason that the first virtual trade mission for the Netherlands was on smart agriculture in October 2020 during COVID. And then 13 Dutch companies and universities took part of that to find new not only customers, find new partners, joint ventures partners to invest, technology partners, agro partners, farmers to collaborate. It went quite well because each company and organization had around eight South African Zoom meetings with different South African organizations. 2/3 came from the Western Cape. 1/3 came from other areas in South Africa. That's why we have even formed a cluster, Netherlands Agro Food and Technology Center. So agriculture is like an in Dutch called rode draad. Rode draad constantly within our chamber. We have a lot of members who are based in agriculture, and it's so broad. So we are also dealing with an agro intelligence center building up. I also saw that there is different kinds, for instance, with MEC Dr. Even Meyer from the Western Cape. We are part of the market access program for food. that is then exports from the Western Cape to our part of the world, to the Netherlands. So it depends what we want, but they're different. If it's fresh produce or potato, or even wines. It's if you take up wines, you have a lot of wine importers. We do a lot of wine promotion. So there's a lot of things going on agriculture. So the answer is yes. It's an extremely important sector for us. That's why we created the cluster. There are lots of activities around it. So if we want to take this further, in the next few weeks, we could set up a separate call and see how we can collaborate with the Garngoed area and on agriculture and some other chambers like us and other chambers to see if we can set up a certain program or a certain, what are the needs, what are we looking for, and definitely there's a huge match. Thank you.
Great stuff. No, thanks for that answer, and I think you did allude to it in your presentation. So I think once we receive it, Willie, we can link back with agriculture and the organized agri units to perhaps pick it up a bit further, because I'm sure some of them have been involved in that session of yours and that workshops, Mark. So hopefully we can reach to the converted there. Jana, any views from your side, please?
Yes, thank you very much. So I'd say that the agriculture or agri-food sector in Finland is important, and well, especially people are buying a lot of Finnish food, so to say, and it's also rather important also in export sense. However, I'd say that from the Helsinki Region Chamber of Commerce point, we are not speaking that much about agri-food sector as such, but we are seeing that it's part of the normal business. So food processing business and so on. So all the big players are our members. So, and we are serving them in the same way that we serve our other members. So giving them support, and they're also part of our committees. I'm always thinking of like international level and how to help the companies to go international. And in the national level, the Business Finland, they have different programs to help the Finnish companies to go abroad. For instance, Food from Finland. So I signpost them there. It's also that among our Finnish Enterprise Europe Network team, we have internal sector group AgroFood, and there's a person who is located on the western part of Finland who is working there. So basically, I'm also asking her what kind of connections she has there. The Finnish companies, they have recently become known from the plant protein-based foods. There's, for instance, Golden Green, and then there's a Soil Food who is making protein from thin air. Actually, it's a startup. So there's a lot going on there. I think that the Finnish food is known from the organic products, and more emphasis is put on that. Also related to the earlier tourism question, I'd say that the tourism related to food, and especially craft-made organic food is rising. But really, from our perspective, we are helping them as other companies. But then we are also following the situation in national level. Generally, in the agriculture or the agri-food sector, there are pretty strong lobbying organizations who are helping the companies as well, like directly the farmers. But I also know that in the regional or local level, there are development organizations owned by the municipalities, and they are also directly helping farmers, but also businesses related to agri-food sector. So I hope this answered your question.
No, it does indeed, because I think it's critical to understand that it's not only about a certain type of business. Just maybe before Caroline responds as well, in our region now in the Ghana route, I mean, we've got a variety of sectors we work in. I mean, it's from oil and gas right through to agriculture on the other side and everything in between. And that actually makes it interesting and also very daunting at the same time to look after all the various sectors. But we did identify obviously 3 main sectors that we want to concentrate on harder or put more effort into going forward, of which tourism, agri, and construction are the top 3. Not ignoring the others and not taking any cognizance of that, but I think we need to fortunately, our agri is very good at the moment, so that's the one growing sector, irrespective of what happened. And people fortunately still have to eat, and we still have lots of different products. Tourism, as we know, are all in trouble, and construction, because of all the things that's been stopped and so forth, is in trouble. So I think, yeah, so definitely, I mean, and it's good if we can learn from your learnings as well, later on, both Mark and Jana and Caroline as well. That'll be cool, so if we can start saying this, and if we're putting these task teams together, how do we get you involved in perhaps giving us some other insights in that as well? So we'll definitely look into that. Caroline, your view on the agri?
Agri is a large enough sector within the Northern Ireland Chamber. The agri-food sector is a future driver in the economic development of Northern Ireland. In 2018, it was worth about 5 million and employing about 25,000 people. It's a fast growing sector. There's some complications within it and the Brexit side of things, because we're a lot of importing. But it's one that we're actually looking at the minute, and I'm not fully up to speed on it all at the minute. But it is going to be one of the big drivers for us moving forward, that and fintech.
Great. So I think, there is a big, obviously, an export part from the Greater Island area in terms of beef and things like that. So it's definitely part of your core focus areas. Mark, there's a question for you there on the, and Liesel's asking that question. So if there's opportunities to collaborate to help scale a locally developed nature-based water treatment technology with particular application, you can answer it offline there. It's a direct question to you. So it doesn't have to go through the big process there, because I think obviously opportunities will arise. Just a very quick last round. I mean, I think there's not any other questions that I see currently. So Mark, if you can look on the Q&A and just attend to Liesel, it'll be great. From the four of you sitting here now, we can obviously try and see whether we can, some last thoughts from your side. I mean, if you say, listen, if we can wave this little magic wand and we can get things quickly done, and things that we still need as individual chambers, for instance, to just give us that one extra step to take things forward, what will that be? I know we're looking at the potentially impossible question here, but I mean, sometimes we can have a wish list. So, we know COVID is not going to go away. We understand, as we said yesterday, and we're coining that phrase as the next normal rather than the new normal, because I mean, things will continuously change from here onwards. And things that's been sort of automatic for us is becoming very problematic for us at the moment. So if you as a chamber can say, listen, everything being equal and everything is great, what do you want to add to your arsenal and to your offerings as such? Just one thing, and it'll be a quick round. So we'll start with you this time, Caroline. I know it's deep ending.
Yeah, the key thing for us is that we had 84% retention rate with our members, and it would be like to try to maintain that, because we're 100% funded by our members, and the more members that we have that we can facilitate and keep happy, the better, and the more wide-ranging services that we can do. At the minute, like, we're reinvesting into new technology software. At the minute, we're looking at Remo. We've our first online networking starting now on the 11th of March. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Remo platform. We're just looking at it at the minute, and it's like being in a virtual event. You see all the tables and you're moving around and you've breakout rooms. It's almost as close as you can to replicating the same event. And that's one of the big things that we're going to try now to see if it'll really work, especially for those large networking events for all the members regionally. So, yeah.
Okay. Now it'll be interesting to hear how it did work for you. I mean, I think it's actually quite a nice program to implement. I mean, it makes sense. Ingrid. Unmute. There we go.
Yeah, I had to give that some thought. Gosh,
if I had I see you're still thinking, so must we come back?
More than one, but I did. Yeah. So ideally, it would be to be able to have the communication open to the entire community and population. That all things can reach all people, and to use the information or not. And then just to keep doing what we're doing, but just ramp it up if we can with the resources that we could possibly get additional. That would be it.
Yeah, I think adding to what you're saying, I think in South Africa, definitely, and also in our region, I mean, not all our people are connected the way we can sit around at virtual desks are now. I'm not sure how it is in the rest of Europe, but I mean, that's definitely a problem for us, you know, in terms of reaching those we actually want to reach based on the system. So we're quick to say we can do things virtually and we can, you know, we can adapt, but can the population, can the community, can the business, all the businesses across the region do that? I know we're working on fiber and proper connectivity, but that's still a way off, you know, and the same applies in the schooling system. It's okay to do homeschooling, it's okay to work from home, but not all the people have that bandwidth and that ability to be involved. And you mentioned it yourselves as in your presentation, some of you, that it is a struggle. Mark, your big wish, so to speak.
No, yeah, big wish. Yeah, indeed. No, we have to put more effort in setting up more business sessions with like you guys, you know, with regional chambers, because we see now you have to know your members, because all our members, okay, we have a smaller membership, huh? Because we are private chamber of commerce. You're not part of government or semi-government. So you know, we see our members as our clients, and all our clients want to have individual attention. And normally what we had with these huge events, that on the events everybody could have attention. There were speakers, they were everywhere, there were like matchmaking on the ground, everything. Now during COVID, that's over. So you have to have the effort we have to make is know all the members what they want. You know, why are they now part of SANEC? What is their aim? What are the objectives internationally? And from that point of view, to serve them, we have to collaborate more in a cluster way, in a structural way with regional chambers, and set up business sessions, you know, to make sure that we facilitate the need and the demand from for instance, from the Western Cape, from the Garden Route, and we match that with the you know, what the Dutch has to offer, and that moment, that effort have to be taken in this year. And in the other hand, we have to also make use of more commercial routes, and we created an entity which doing more in a commercial way, doing business development for members. Just go a step further for companies, but we have to yeah, the wishes now is you know, it's a challenge to be in all sectors active. Huh? We have a special pull card. There's tourism is very important in that card, with special discounts and special offers. Okay, that is still what is not possible, but there must be we have to adapt in the new situation, that we have to create it focused sector focused sessions overseas with the regional chambers. I think that is for us important to outroll.
Yeah. Right. Fits fitting with our needs, so I think we obviously can see what we can do similarly. Jana, your side.
Yes, I'd like to also speak about retention rate. That's the issue, I think, every year. So how to keep the members and make them to use all the services and then commit. That's one of the things. It takes time to get new members, and it's not good to lose them. But then internally, I'd say that we have a big renewal process of new digital tools. So there are big hopes for that, saving time and effort in many ways, and nerves as well. And then I think that very, very important question when you think about the organization is how to keep connected inside the company and create the feeling of being part of the same organization. And this relates to sharing information and being more innovative and sort of like help the organization itself to grow and connect. And this is because I think that things will change after COVID, but I mean, it will take probably until end of this year. So I don't know, but that's maybe the biggest thing, that I think that they share the feeling of being part of the community is needed. Community meaning the organization now internally.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. No, and thanks for that insights. I think, I know it's been a curveball question in a certain way, but I think sometimes, we have to think outside the box, and it's not only about economic development, it's about social development, it's about a lot of other things as well. And sometimes as a chamber, as an association, doesn't matter what industry we're actually in, we tend to look at that economic business part of things rather than perhaps the spin-offs and the other processes that can take place. So it's just sometimes a food for thought. So I think that's, again, just thank you for that. I mean, I know it's been difficult to just throw a question like that at you, but I mean, well answered to all of you. So Mark, so you'll be answering Liesl there on the Q&A. So otherwise we can link you afterwards. It's not a problem. I don't see any other questions anywhere. So I think we can actually safely go over to the vote of thanks, which our our municipal manager, would have done, but he's now been pulled into that state of the provincial address. So I've asked Melanie Wilson, the LED manager for the Garden Route, to perhaps do that vote of thanks. But before she does that, from my side to you guys as well, thank you so much for taking the time, taking the effort, joining us in the Garden Route, and picking up on the things that matter to all of us. And I think through this can be a start of something great going forward. And I really look forward that we can continue collaborating on various levels, even if it's just sometimes just sharing your virtual platform there, Caroline, that you're going to test and see how that works and whether it actually was good, so that we can continue learning from each other. So, and I'm hoping that even now, I know Mark and Fons knew each other, but maybe you guys also met new people now around the room, which is sometimes also a great thing. So even if you're working in that area, it's actually quite a interesting way to just pick up some more connections. I'm a networker of nature, so I mean, I like doing that, and I think it's always good to do that and be able to link up with people. So, Melanie, can I hand over to you for a final vote of thanks, and then we can say goodbye.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
We do.
Thank you. I just want to apologize on behalf of our municipal manager. He had to leave, like Paul alluded to now, with a meeting with our premier. I just want to really, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you to Paul, and I want to say thank you to every panelist that took part today. You know, what we've spoken about and what you shared with us is very practical, and we will definitely, at some of different levels, we will definitely stay in contact with you, and we would like to take some of the interventions that you've mentioned. We would like to take that forward with you maybe in a partnership, or also just obtaining more information with you. And I hope this is the start of a relationship that we can take forward. We have put together a recovery plan for our district after and during COVID, also to look at specific interventions across sectors, because all our sectors were affected, least agriculture, but mainly tourism, construction, and manufacturing. But what is one of the benefits that we have in our region is that we do have a very good relationship with our business chambers, and actually amidst the bad things that happened during the COVID pandemic, we actually strengthened our relationships with our business community. So that is one of the advantages that we had during this COVID period. And I must warn Fons, the CEO, the MM already said we must arrange a one-on-one with him. So it's just a heads up, Fons. We will make contact with you, but also with some of the others that's here. We really appreciate you sharing all the information, and also to all the participants that that took part in this WebiPanel. We appreciate your time and the effort by being here. And I'm sure we're going to take this, especially on the issues that you mentioned in your way forward. There is definitely some of the things that we can take forward with you individually. So we want to say thank you once again, Paul, and to everyone, and I wish you well, and I wish that you are safe and that you have all been or will soon be vaccinated to, to be resistant against this virus. Thank you very much, everyone. Once again, thank you from GRD. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Melanie, for that. Yeah, so that all that's left now is to say, can't even say that anymore, safe travels, but stay safe and enjoy what you're doing. And again, yeah, let's look forward to things happening. So if there's any more questions from any of the people, you can either email myself or Melanie, and we can forward it to the relevant chamber that's been talking. And guys, yeah, from a panelist side, I'll be in touch again, just obviously afterwards, just to quickly talk to you about, what we can do differently next time around as well, if you don't mind. We all learn from each other, and I think it's very critical that we continue doing so. But yeah, let me say that, safe travels and good luck with everything that you're doing. And thanks for everybody being on this call. Cheers, bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Paul, Melanie.
Thank you so much.
Everybody,
Thank you.
fantastic.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye, everybody. Thank you very much for your time and travel.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Till soon. Bye-bye.
Till soon.
See you soon.
I like
Bye-bye.
Yeah, all the virtual. Bye.
Yeah, very good.
Bye.
Thanks, Paul. Paul, you muted.